Hey, this is Dami, the editor. Thought I'd give you a couple heads up. This episode ran a bit long and has been chopped into 2 episodes. The recording session covered Candy Epilogues 2 and 3. Each contains a fairly nasty content. This episode will cover Candy 2 and will feature discussion of date rape. If that's not your cup of tea, there's a chapter marker you can use to skip past it. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy.
Hello and welcome back to Live, Laugh, Stuck. My name is Jackie, aka Jax. My pronouns are they, them, and with me as always, except not always, but on Moosielogue episodes always, is Moosie.
Hello, I'm Moosie, also a they, them.
Yes, also a they, them, a dreaded they, them. Yeah, so it's been a hot second since we recorded, because I was like sick for a week and a half. I
just reverted for a little bit.
Yeah, I had like literal age regression, like, they talk about it, but like, no, I Benjamin Buttoned. No, I was sick for like a week and a half, and then just like other shit kept coming up, so but I think we remember where we left off before. Did you read this kind of knowing where we were?
Oh, like before I read through the epilogue too?
Yeah, like, I mean, was it confusing where we picked up on, or you pretty much remember?
No. So I had remembered that Dirk was like, drop everything, and I was like curious about that, so that's why I chose Candy Epilogue 2.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we did Candy Epilogue 2 and 3, because 3 is only 2 chapters.
I finished 2 and I was like, oh, 3 is only 2 more chapters. That'll be a cake. I was like, oh, this stuff happens.
Stuff happens. We'll get to stuff that happens. Also, I just want to note that as of recording, the last episode that got published got age restricted on YouTube, which makes sense because I used motherfucker in the title.
Oh.
Because
I
was
not brand safe.
Yeah, I was quoting Gamzee, and I like considered changing the title, but no, I'm staying true to myself. Fuck YouTube. Like, I don't care. Like, I really appreciate you if you're watching this on YouTube. I love you all dearly. YouTube is not my main concern when I am making these. So I hope you guys either can still access that or like just go to a different like podcast platform to listen to those. I'm sorry if it's inconvenient, but I won't not quote Gamzee for my episode titles if I want to. Anyway, that's just like, that was just really funny. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. We'll see if this one gets it, if they hear anything that we talk about in here. Well, we'll start with Candy Epilogue 2, which starts with Chapter 4, hanging with Rose and Kanaya.
Yeah. I had originally started reading this during office hours at work one week, and then my note is, like, on the second bullet point, I immediately got interrupted by another teacher.
Yeah.
For like an hour, and it's like, I'll read this later.
Yeah, how dare other teachers interrupt you from reading Homestuck, your most sacred of duties.
Yeah, I mean, the takeaway I got from that chapter was just Rose feels fine.
Yeah, so she wakes up in a hospital and she's like, actually, I feel like really good, and I don't give a shit about like canon anymore, or like maybe much of anything. Then there's also like evidence of like a tension in their relationship while Rose has been sick and distant and like kind of weird. So there's like minor commentary about John leaving the house multiple days in a row, which I said, this is about me. Like it's an event when I leave the house multiple days in a row. And the way Rose described no longer caring about the stuff that she thought was so urgent and important just like really reminds me of like how I feel when I'm getting over like an anxiety attack or like an OCD compulsion.
Yeah.
Is like, oh, that was silly. I don't care anymore. I'm over it now.
Yeah. When I'm feeling anxiety, I remind myself, hey, what was I anxious about today 1 year ago? I'm like, I don't remember. This'll pass.
Yeah. Rose's months or years long anxiety attack is over, I guess is what I'm saying. Rosemary remains the best and most important ship in Homestuck forever. That's it. These are all like pretty short chapters. Some have like more punch in them, but they're all pretty short.
Yeah.
Which is good because there were several of them. Because this was like chapters 2 through 15 is what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So chapter 5 is the worst throuple that has ever existed. Jade, Karkat, and Dave. And it's the worst because they're not a throuple.
I hate reading these guys so much.
No, it's terrible. They did everyone so dirty. They did Jade so dirty. It is so hard to have a favorite character and go into the epilogues and not come out feeling like they did your favorite character dirty. I'm more surprised John has left the house multiple days in a row. Karkat doesn't care because Karkat and Dave also never leave their house. Okay, so here's... because there was a comment about how it was so mysterious. Like, there's a mysterious way girls are able to take their bra off and put it back on without removing their shirt. And I'm like, I can, like, take a bra off without taking my shirt off, like, usually. Putting it back on is, like,
Yeah,
wild.
I can't do that reverse. Like, what?
Like, no, that's so hard, especially, like, quickly. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Like, just say she's a space player and was able to do it, right? Just say she fucking teleported her bra back onto her boobs. That makes more sense than she would be able to put her bra on quickly without taking her shirt off.
It's one thing to, like, reach behind you and unlatch
Right.
something. It's another to reach behind you and latch it back with one hand.
Yeah, and then, like, you could kind of, like, shrug out of the straps and kind of pull them off really easy. It's much harder to then, like...
Yeah,
pull them back on.
shove them
like,
through your sleeves. Kinda
right.
weird.
Like, it's just, like, it's not like just Hussey wrote this. Like, multiple other people wrote this, and I'm pretty sure at least one of them wears bras, or at least has at some point. Like, I don't know. I'm like, is it a skill issue? I'm so glad that you also had the same comment, because it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then the quote, it's a weird, intimate, and uncomfortably close to sexual thing to be doing in front of other people. I mean, because it's Jade, maybe, but to me, I'm like, bro, it's a bra.
If this was like roommates, which kind of it is in a way,
Yeah.
is like you're walking around in like boxers and
Yeah.
pajamas, and sometimes without a bra. Sometimes you put a bra back on. It's not like she took her top off.
Exactly. It's like the fact that she, like, kept her shirt on to do it is like, that's not very sexual. Like, that's anti, like, no, she kept her shirt on to do it. That's the removing the weirdly sexual part of it. Especially
Yeah.
because I cannot imagine how weird it looked and, like, how awkward it was. Like, sorry, there is nothing inherently sexual about someone putting a bra on under their shirt unless, I don't know, people are into, like,
That
weird
is not
things.
sex.
Like, I don't want to kink shame if that's your thing. But, like...
It would be hard to do that sexily.
No, yeah, exactly. Like, and the thing is, like, they could have had Jade do it with her shirt off and then, like, make the boys turn around rather than ogle her like she wants them to do. She crosses many sexual boundaries here. Like, maybe I should have put that in the content warning ahead, but that's just Jade, and that's been Jade, like, since we've been talking with Jade, of, like, she kind of, like, keeps sexually assaulting Karkat in, like, small ways that Karkat, like, won't be able, like, Karkat and Dave aren't able to put a voice that it is, like, legitimate sexual assault, and it's kind of being treated as, like, an exaggeration when Karkat blows up too much. But she kept her shirt on. Like, that is the least horny thing Jade has done so far.
Yeah.
Not to just, like, stick on the bra point so much, but it was, like, such a weird section to be written by whatever. I know more than Hussey just wrote that.
It's giving whatever, like, she walks down the stairs boobily or
Yeah.
whatever.
And, like, Hussey, as far as I know, hasn't been one to fall for those types of tropes. And again, like, I can't remember the exact, like, gender identities of the other, like, 2 or 3 people who worked on it, but, like, they weren't all, I mean, I know Hussey, like, isn't a cis man, but, like, was presumed to be at the time, but, like, they weren't cis men, right? Like, the other people writing weren't cis men. They should have, like, understood how bras were. Like, I don't know. It's just so weird. You're so right. It does feel like one of those, like, she breasted boobly things.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wrote, Dirk isn't narrating this, but the whole thing has been weird as hell. Like, because God forbid even a sliver of sunlight ever infect Dave and Karkat's hive. Bro, Karkat is light sensitive. Like, they have the blinds closed because he's sensitive to light. I don't know what the narrator's problem is, but there is so much a narrator voice coming from this. And it's weird. It's a bad narrator. I don't like their opinions. Yeah, narrators being weird about Jade planning to seduce them to get together, which is also a weird thing she's doing. Jade sexually harasses Karkat and is surprised when she gets bit because somehow the narrator says it would be easy to mistake his reaction as arousal somehow, which feels kind of victim blamey. Like, no, like, sorry, you've lived with Karkat for like years at this point, or like known him for like years, but I think they said that she's basically lived there for a few years now. And like there's no way that you'd be able to mistake whatever like his facial expressions were for like arousal. And then the narrator just like, I don't know, it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, I did note, she was being sexually harassy in the meat timeline, and she also is in the candy timeline. My notes here are just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you provided the very detailed description that would be in a smut fanfic about the sexual harassment that she gets bit for. It sucks. Like, the whole thing sucks. Everything about it sucks. Jane presidency is talked about by... I said Jane presidency plot has entered the candy timeline. It technically was before because Dirk texted to say cancel everything. Yeah, and now there's more economy talk in the candy timeline. And it's so bad. And then Dave positions it as a priority over xenophobia issues, and it's so bad. And then Karkat slut shames Jade. So it's just a good chapter overall. I'm so glad we checked in on them.
All of it. Bleh.
Yeah.
This feels very different from actually reading like original Homestuck.
No, for real. I'm so glad you're saying that, because there were some people, even some people like who I was like mutuals with and liked their opinions generally, who said this feels exactly the same as Homestuck, and it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Right. I'm so glad, because sometimes it's like I get caught up thinking that like I am the only one who feels that way, or like me and like maybe other people who got harassed, or other people who like didn't like a particular thing that like people were like doing in the fandom, or like, yeah, it's like, am I really the one like not reading this right and like feeling this is different just because I don't like parts of it? So I'm glad you are here to help me confirm that no, it does not read like Homestuck.
Yeah.
You have 2 bullet points on the next chapter with Jane and Jake, and I have several.
Yeah.
I have a few more than that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Jane has an honorary degree from almost every university. It was something that was put in. I don't really remember the exact context, but I put that's just symbolic. It doesn't mean anything. That's like
it was her saying that she knows the economy better than Dave, because her next thing was like Dave didn't even finish middle school.
That's like when you maybe give a talk at a university and they give you like a symbolic degree. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't mean you did anything.
It doesn't.
I also want to know why the education system sounds the same as in pre-apocalypse Earth 1.0 USA. And why are things wildly different?
That's one of the things, is like they say it's like, oh, well, they didn't like stick around to actually set up a real government, so all they did was leave people with media from their own time. I forget if they explained like this completely in like one of the earlier chapters, or just kind of said it, but it's like they were given, as far as I know, the only like reference point the new civilization had was like the media from our last civilization, so it makes sense that they would like just replicate what was already done.
Only like American media? Nothing in other languages?
Yeah, I mean, like, because it was just it was probably just the media that they had like downloaded or whatever, and they're all, I mean, I guess like Jake and Jade might not be American. I forget where their island is, but like basically American. I mean, like, yeah. And then you summarized basically so many of my bullet points as Jane and Jake are drunk and upset about Dirk, and then Jane touches Jake's thigh. He doesn't get to come on. Jane drinks more. Yeah. Apparently crime is so low, most people don't have locks on their doors, which seems dumb and not how things would go. Like, I don't care if crime is low, like, people would still have locks on their doors. Like, maybe not, like, maybe it isn't, like, fucking every single person. Like, I know people who don't lock their door. Like, when I lived out in the middle of fucking nowhere, we didn't lock our door that much because no one was around. But, like, I don't know. I just don't think that people would still, like, by default, like, don't even have locks on their door.
They might want some privacy sometimes.
Yeah. Or, like, I don't know. This is very hyper-specific to me, but, like, my door latch doesn't work that well unless I have the bolt in place, you know? Like,
Yeah.
again, that's a hyper-specific situation.
I don't know. I've never had a lock that works properly in an apartment, whether that's the back door or the front door.
Yeah, the lock thankfully works, though. There's no fucking metal reinforcing the bolt. It's just into the wood, so don't break into my house, guys. But yeah, I don't know. There's just like, privacy, or like, I don't know, like, you just might want to lock a door. I don't know. Especially like if they are basing society on old media, which I guess is something I just made up right now.
Oh, I get it. They just see, like, Kramer storm into Jerry Seinfeld's house all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what it
yes.
is. You're so right.
And, like, friends always visiting each other.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it just seems like a weird thing. Like, maybe I'm just in my crime polluted society, so we have to have locks. But like I said, I grew up in an area where we just basically never locked the door, and it would still seem wild to just not have locks. Okay, so the Jake and Dirk relationship is complicated, and I think it's more complicated because the writers are not communicating with each other about what the actual vibe of the relationship is, or everyone is an unreliable narrator. And to me, that's just a lazy excuse to just, like, have contradictory things in there, you know?
We should have authors that don't communicate, but each one is responsible for exactly one character. So then it's literally just role playing.
Yeah, it's just role-playing. Like, that'd be so funny, actually. I do love being able to, like, read a fic that's not tagged as being, like, an RP fic, but you can very clearly tell it was an RP fic. It is funny, because I have some RP fics posted, and people are like, hey, can you, like, edit this so it's not as weird? It's like, bro, we tagged it RP fic. We ain't fucking editing this. Like, it's so many fucking words. We're not going through and, like, rewriting the whole thing. So Jane is worried about Dirk going dark for the first time in years, but Jake says he isn't. But Jake is already drunk, and Jane deduces this is because he does care about what Dirk is up to. She says they have a codependent relationship, and she describes them as not officially together. Like, not officially together. And, like, they're not together at all. Like, Dirk, I guess, like, this was in the Meet timeline, but, like, Dirk was talking about how Jake likes to remind him that they're not together in a kind of, like, implied cruel way, right?
Yeah.
Whether Jake means it to be cruel or not. Like, they are extremely not together. The way that Dirk's mind was when he blocked Jake was very much them not being together. I don't know why, like, unless Jane just has this impression of Dirk and Jake, and we are just not, like, yet given the context or ever given the context that she is incorrect about this, and she just has a wrong assumption that no one has corrected. I don't know. And then I'm also confused about, like, there is a battle bot that Dirk made for Jake, and I just don't know if it is just a random battle bot or if this is supposed to be Brobot.
I don't know.
So I don't know. I didn't even first, like, notice that he was there until he was, like, wanting to take the empty bottle that she fucking downed, and then fucking whenever he leaves, like, is told to leave the room, he passive aggressively slams the door, and Jane thinks, scorched earth policy, that robot was indeed programmed by Dirk Strider. What the fuck are you talking about? Dirk would never passive aggressively slam a door. I can't imagine that. Like, I can't imagine, like, in scorched earth policy, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is so crazy, because Aisha, one of the authors, has written really good Dirk stuff, right?
I mean, I don't know that personally, but I'm agreeing with you.
I know you don't. I'm just trying to, like, add context. It's like, Aisha, from other works I've seen of theirs, is a good writer. They've also worked on, like, Friendsim and stuff. So it's just like, and it just feels like no one understands half of these characters, and, like, Dirk is getting such a weird short end of the stick of how little no one understands his character. And again, I don't know if this is supposed to be an unreliable narrator, if this is Jane's perception of Dirk, but Jane has no reason to think Dirk would go scorched earth based on what we've seen from Homestuck originally. Anyway, Aisha's also not great, not a great person. I just want to throw that out there for reasons I'm not gonna get into, because that's not what this podcast is about. But I just don't want to be like, oh yeah, Aisha's a great writer, without also being like, but also sucks as a person. And just more Dirk slander.
Dirk slander.
Another quote, a way about him, as in Dirk, that makes you feel like whatever you do, as long as it doesn't involve him, it doesn't count for dick. Since when? And I have the comment of love how we're being told how Dirk is rather than shown over and over and over. Like, that is the epilogue's problem, is it skips so many years that all you have is the context of Homestuck. And then now, years and years later, it's like, but this is how it's been. We're not going to actually show you how it got to that point. We're not going to show people engage in these sorts of things. We're just going to tell you that this is how it has been. And you're just going to have to believe us.
Honestly, I feel like they could have stretched out just like Homestuck version 2 in just doing world building comic thing of like, this is how everything is starting. Maybe some of the kids do stay to help build the world or whatever, and then I don't know. I feel like you could have had a lot of just content on the early interactions and everything leading up to whatever this is supposed to be.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who have said, and I absolutely agree, that the epilogues, or like whatever would come after Homestuck, should not have been about the original characters and should have been about new characters in this new world, and then have a lot of like implied world building from the characters experiencing the world, right? And yeah, but like even any extra world building or having like the kids stay behind, like I can't believe Kanaya didn't stay behind to try to like start up troll reproduction instead of just like cloning from the trolls. Like that's such a fucking weird decision for Kanaya to have made. Like it doesn't make sense. And like I know that's what happens in the Snapchat, but remember the Snapchat's not canon anymore, so it doesn't fucking mean anything.
Yeah.
But Jane is also feeling the effects of no longer being canon, similar to Rose, except she's not a seer. She's not like as aware of it as much. Yeah, nothing she does matters. She doesn't care about as much. So I think she was talking about how she didn't really care that much about like Dirk calling off the plans for presidency. She starts to hit on Jake and then slut shames him, and then talks about how she at one point got seduction advice from Jade. It's a whole thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's so weird.
I don't know if you want to cut this out, but considering this is just reminding me of like this week the Epstein emails have come out. It's like all these people are asking this creep for advice. Now I'm just reminded of this.
Damn, harsh words. Oh, Jade, yeah, let me compare it to Epstein real quick. Jesus Christ.
The sexual harasser everyone needs to get their advice from.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true though, because I mean, we'll get into this in a bit, but like what starts to happen here and what happens later is very much like I don't think Jade would give all this exact advice, but like and I don't know. It sucks. Yeah, Jane continues to seduce Jade by saying she wants a family, not business. She didn't get that advice from Jade. Again, implying that Jake and Dirk were together in some sort of way, and so now that Dirk's out of the picture, Jake is now actually available to her, or more available or something. They weren't together, and Jake's been sleeping with a lot of people. You just slut-shamed him. I guess, like, he was only sleeping with people and not in a relationship because Jane thinks that he and Dirk had, like, some weird thing going on, even though that has not been evident in any other part of the epilogue so far. It's so weird.
Or then, I think another thing that could have maybe made this make a little more sense is just working on the narration so it's clear that it's like an inner monologue.
Right. Yeah, like that
for each like chapter for each person.
Because like that's one of the benefits of the second person is because it is much more like there is still definitely a narrative voice, which we now know is Dirk, and there tends to be a narrative voice overall, but a lot of it does make it more seen that it is coming from that character's perspective. Or I don't know, what really needs to happen is just to have like, I don't know, you might be right that that's the thing, but it's just like,
because I feel like you could have the inaccuracies, but if you're speaking in like first person in your brain,
yeah,
it's like, oh, is Jake upset about Dirk?
Yeah,
like that sort of thing.
Yeah, or just like, you know, other people don't see it, but you're sure that there was a thing going on between like Jake and Dirk, like or they'll deny it, but like just something that like casts doubt or like shows that this is an interpretation of what's going on instead of factual statements, you know? so very little of it feels like they are like for sure unreliable narrators are just only going off their own opinions and not just stating things that have happened, because they're having to do that in order to explain the past like 6 or 7 years. So there's no really delineation between what is an explanation of what has been happening and the character traits that are now cemented in these characters versus someone's interpretation of how the events are happening. But yeah, and then like you said, Jake doesn't get to come on and is like friend-zoning her, which I don't know. I would like to think that he does see what she's doing and just friend-zones her anyway, but I know like the narrative doesn't think that Jake's that smart. And like I also don't know like what's the big push with her like trying to like say that she wants a family and stuff with Jake, because like has Jake ever recently expressed an interest in that? Because the last time you were pushing with the family with Jake, and he mentions that in this chapter, is when she was fucking brainwashed and talking about how she was going to like forcibly breed him.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe you bringing up wanting a family with him isn't the seduction technique you think it is. Fucking wild.
I don't follow your brain math there.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, we are on chapter 7, and you have a few bullet points, and I have several. This is John, Roxy, Calliope, and Gamzee.
Yeah, also just like, I don't know. They go to a cafe, Gamzee's being all quote-unquote wise. And then I'm also confused about the Calliope and Roxy relationship, because John seems to think this is like a Roxy-John date. And then also, I don't know, I just wrote at some point, does Gamzee just stand around with an erection?
Yeah, it's because he's wearing the barred cod piece, and the barred cod piece looks like an erection.
Okay.
So that's what that
I thought
is.
he was just like wearing tights and
Nah, he's wearing the cod piece that of the barred outfit, which is just fucking sticks out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know. Like, within the cod piece, he could be. Yeah, John's in a weird, pissy mood. Mentions that Roxy's a bit taller than him in her nice shoes, which I wrote Transmask John and Transfemme Roxy confirmed, because I love it. He makes a little bit of a big deal about how she's apparently been wanting to hang out with him, but it's like, John, you're a recluse. Your friends have been wanting to hang out with you. I know in this moment it's supposed to be flirting, but it's just like, yeah, your friends want to hang out with you. No shit. And then the line, he missed her, the way she used to be when the two of them were close as kids. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What, when? Like,
yeah.
For one, kids is such a weird, like, kids, aka like 16 to when? When do they stop being kids? Were they really close for like a year? Are we counting kids up until like they're no longer teens? Like, so from like 16 to 19 they were really close. Like, you're not that old. Like, you're 23. I would kind of understand if this was like a 35-year-old reminiscing about them being kids, and like early 20s like could be considered like kids. But even then, when you're 35, it's like maybe like 45, 50, you would start thinking early 20 as like kids to reminisce on. But like as a like 23-year-old talking about when you were kids, that was just like that makes it seem like younger than 6. I don't know, but like we just have to understand that they were close. Like, they were close as kids, whatever that means. I don't know.
It wasn't like 13.
No, they were 16.
Yeah,
they were 16 whenever they met up before Earth, like right before they did the final battle for Earthsea and stuff. So yeah, they were 16 until sometime they were close, and then they weren't. And we just have to trust that, no, don't worry, they were close. It's fine. Like, there's no like,
again, show and not tell.
because they don't even have like, not even flashbacks, but just a memory of like, yeah, when we were close and we did this, that, or the other thing. Like, sprinkle in like memories of things they used to do together and then stop doing, right? They don't even do that. They just say, yeah, back when we had this emotional connection, or like this person like changed over time, but without the examples to back that up. They're just like, trust me, it happened. Like, it wouldn't be this frustrating if it wasn't every single fucking time. If it wasn't throughout the entire epilogues, at least so far, that they pull shit like this. If this was like the only time they did that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Roxy and John go to the cafe. Calliope stays out with Gamzee. Calliope has figured out the direction the narrative is going, and that it is now clear that John and Roxy are going to get together. And instead of like trying to fight for Roxy, she just accepts her fate as a third wheel, as I guess like they weren't ever in like an actual relationship, but she does. I don't know. It's so weird. It is very funny that Gamzee then offers to kill John for Calliope, and I think he is a true bro and a good dad for that. I think if your daughter is like, yeah, so I was like kind of like dating this girl, and then like suddenly this guy swoops in and just like goes off with her. Like, is it reasonable? Is that something I would want the dad to actually actively do? And is that a mindset I would want him to keep up? No, but I think like in the moment when your daughter's like venting and being sad, to be like, "Do you want me to kill him?" is like a reasonable response. I think that's a good dad response.
My little sister Rose has been bullied at work by bosses and stuff before, and like before my mom passed, I remember just one time we were getting lunch and she was like, "Do you want me to like go punch her?"
Yeah, right.
Or go like threaten this lady or something.
Yeah. Like, is that a thing you actually want action on? No, but it feels nice to have someone like say it. And it's just like, you know, Calliope's like, John made his choice, you know, chose candy over meat. And so now Calliope has no agency in her own relationships. Did she always consider herself a placeholder until like whatever choice was going to be made? Did Roxy intentionally or not treat her as a placeholder? So yeah, I don't know, like, you know, what is it that is making her like feel so solidly in these roles that like now that John is out of his house and chose candy, that she has to give up on someone she has like, that multiple people have talked about, like they don't know if they're together or not, but something is going on with, right? So that is an implied relationship. That is a quote unquote like together or something, right? Because multiple people have commented on how it's possibly a thing, and even Calliope realizes that it was kind of a thing. Fucking Gamzee interrupting their date, Roxy going to the bathroom, and John immediately going, "Waiter, help!" is so fucking funny, actually. Like, he fucking doesn't care. He legitimately calls for a waiter to help him with this weird fucking clown now that his date is in the bathroom and he's alone with this weird fucking clown. Honoring Calliope's wishes, Gamzee offers to be John's incredibly creepy wingman. He says the words earth pussy. I don't know why he says those. Who taught you that word? Why are you referring to it as earth pussy? You referred to a nook earlier. Why did you now say earth pussy? Who made you say that? Who taught you that word? Why are you like this? Like, I'm not saying the dude doesn't have a misogynistic bone in his body or anything, and has always been like cool and not creepy. But in what world are we deciding that Gamzee, even though he said nook, like a few paragraphs ago, to refer to genitalia, which is what trolls do, is they refer to bulges and nooks, has now decided to say earth pussy. I hate that, actually. Just so you all know where I stand. It is funny that John stealthily takes a pic of him and Gamzee to send it to Resi. Like, look at what I have to fucking deal with. Chapter 8, Rose and Kanaya.
Mother Grub is ready to start making trolls the natural way. I just put, then there's baby Vriska, and then Kanaya believes that OG Vriska is dead.
For no reason, by the way. I have no idea why she would believe that. I don't think it makes sense, but go off, Queen, as an excuse to adopt a clone of your ex. It's so fucking weird. It's such a weird decision. Yeah, Jane offered Kanaya a position on her board of responsible troll reproduction, which Kanaya told her to fuck off. Also, like, her reason for inviting the press to the Mother Grub being like actually naturally like producing trolls now is because Jane was going to be president, so this was going to be like a media thing for Kanaya. Now she just thinks it's kind of like needless, but I don't know. I think it's still good work to get the press out there for it. Kanaya laughs at the idea of Karkat running for president, which I get on the one hand, but on the other, she was literally told to protect him so that he could be a leader. So it doesn't make sense that she would think it's ridiculous that he could be a leader. just because he's been a shut-in for the past several years while being sexually harassed by one person and having someone dealing with internalized homophobia with the other. But Rose believes in him, even though Kanaya should be the one believing in him, because Kanaya, in order to like her promise with her, I forget the name of goddamn everything. The promise to release the tadpole to actually like create the new world was for Kanaya to protect Karkat so he could become a leader. So why do you think it's funny that he could be a leader? Okay. Rose is glad that with her current relationship arrangement, she can't get human pregnant, though maybe one day she will want to adopt a troll.
And then they decide to adopt a troll?
And then they decide to adopt a troll. They decide to adopt a troll that is a clone of Kanaya's ex. Like her Morel ex that she had a flushed crush on.
That's gonna end well.
It's fine. It's so fine and not weird at all. Like, yeah, and so the slurry is only from the genes of the original 12 trolls. I don't know why they wouldn't wait until they actually, like, got, like, a slurry from, like, the trolls now, like, to hatch, like, a new breed. Breed sounds bad, but, like, especially in the context of, like, the epilogues. But, like, you know, like, a more natural, like, okay, well, now, like, the job is done. I guess, like, their job is now done because it's now being able to start up on their own. But, like, I don't know. It is such a wild thing to say, here's a clone of my ex who I think is dead for legitimately no reason. Because I haven't got a text from her, I guess. And,
I mean, that's how I am when I haven't heard from people in a while.
Yeah. Because, like, I guess Terezi's been out looking for a while, and hasn't found her, so obviously she's just dead. I guess. Vriska doesn't stay dead. We all know this. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing to do. And then Rose was like, Rose ends up being into it, but very much, like, was thought this would be a farther in the future thing. Yeah, chapter 9, Jade, Karkat, and Dave again. I'm so happy to have more of them. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. Butt billboard and more sexual harassment.
Yeah. They're forced to go on a date. Yeah, they're making out of the house. Jake is nothing but a sexual object to everyone. He is a sexy lamp. He is there to be objectified and sexualized. He is like, Huzzy's like, I will not sexually objectify women. I will sexually objectify Jake. All those tropes will get put onto Jake. He is a bimbo. He's not a himbo. He's a bimbo. Dave is texting Dirk to set an appointment to have Karkat touch Jake's ass. Because obviously everyone's down with sexual harassment and just like, again, Jake's sexuality is a commodity. He is not a person. Yeah, Jade is forcing Dave and Karkat to go on a date. They're not into it. She's traumatizing and sexually harassing both of them. Like, she fucking kissed Karkat on the cheek or whatever and then says it was Dave who did it. And they both freak the fuck out. Like, you're so fucking dumb, Jade. Like, I don't understand why they decided to write Jade this way. That's the thing about the epilogues. Like, Homestuck in general, like, you can never separate the author from the work. The author has an insert in... The author exists within the work, literally, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the epilogues make it even more unable to, like... I feel like it's hard to get immersed in this because I'm constantly thinking of how everyone is acting so fucking weird. Why are they acting so weird? And I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I remember liking it my first time, but I also just kind of like was excited to have a new Homestuck thing and absorb it. And it just took me a while for them to like process it after. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think you're like on the immersion? Are you like thinking about like how weird everyone like out of character, or it's just like the characters are doing weird things now and not like the author is making them do weird things now?
I mean, I think just having the long period of time in between Homestucks, like, just really doesn't help anything, and it doesn't make sense without having some kind of justification of, like, this is what happened, this is why everyone is like this, or something.
Yeah. Like, they took the idea of start the plot when the action starts happening so literally that they decided not to explain anything before then.
Yeah, or even, like, did they even document that in their own design document
right
before then?
like, I would be surprised if they had a design document that was, like, any good, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm being way too mean about this, and I'm just, like, frustrated by stuff, but, I don't know. I'm trying to be honest and not try to keep, like, the opinions I saw from, like, fans and, like, the authors themselves on Twitter and how they talked about stuff. I'm trying to keep most of that out of my, like, general analysis, and as well as any future knowledge I may have for stuff that happens later. But I'm sorry to everyone who likes the epilogues that I'm being so negative about, like, everything, but generally, like, as a fan of Homestuck and as a writer, I'm having such a hard time with this. Chapter 10, Terezi. John says he's on a date, and Terezi figures it out by a process of elimination. Boring. Terezi should have guessed someone fun to fuck with John. And Terezi also finds it weird that Calliope backed off just to let John get with Roxy. When Roxy comes back, she asks John if he have ever thought about gender, and he has no fucking idea what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And then Dave crashes the date because he has to talk to John. And John doesn't realize he's in a love triangle between Terezi and Roxy, and no one else does either. I mean, that's, like, pretty clear at the end of the chapter, right? She's like, he feels weird about, like, talking to Terezi and feeling like he needs to, like, hide that he was talking to Terezi while he was talking to Roxy, but he doesn't understand why. I don't know.
I wasn't sure. Like, Terezi just seems kind of distant just from being, I guess, on the phone, but...
Yeah, I mean, like, for sure, but it's just, like, John keeps having, like, so many convoluted feelings whenever he talks to Terezi that's similar about, like, how he talks about, like, feeling weird about talking to Roxy. And I guess, like, the particular thing for me was, like, because he had, like, this weird, like, guilt he couldn't understand about, like, talking to Terezi while he was on a date with Roxy. I don't know. I also have shipper brain.
Also, these people are supposed to be in their early 20s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like middle schoolers figuring out hormones for the first time.
For real. Absolutely. It's so weird. I guess John has just been inside for too long. He forgot how socialization works. Chapter 11. Dave and John. Oh, man. Man, oh, man. I'm so mad about this. Do you understand? I've been mad about this, about, like, Dave just deciding, like, just being back in the closet again. Apparently he hit the gay snooze button.
Mm-hmm.
Why? How? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean he hit the gay snooze button? Like, what do you mean? Like, they were, like, so, like, Karkat and Dave were not in any, like, they were in some sort of weird relationship, but it was not, like, canonical of whether it was, like really, really close friends, like Morales, or if it was something more traditionally human romantic, or what was going on with them. But it was clear enough that John picked up on it. Vriska and Terezi commented on it. And then just about being, like, into dudes, Dave talked to Dirk about it. Like, they had a moment about it, which John, I think John references it in here in this chapter. Like, I mean, John doesn't know that that's what the talk was about, but did see them, like, being close and stuff. And somehow after that, there were too many things going on, so he decided that he was still in the closet, actually, and decided not to think about being into dudes.
For so many years.
For 7 years. Like, I would get, like, for a few months, maybe a year after, right? But that's my criticism of the entire fucking thing that I bring up all the time, is, like, so many of these things would make sense if this was a year after, but then they would be 17, and, like, they want to do stuff that they can't do with 17-year-olds.
And as far as we know, like, there's no homophobia in this world. Like,
right, except they
like
did
the most natural way to kind of, want to protect yourself in that regard, but...
And then, even then, like, you're one of the gods, right?
Yeah. You're
one of the gods. Like, they make a point, Rose and Kanaya talked earlier about how, like, almost everyone decided to, almost all of the, like gods, like, quote-unquote gods, decided to stay out of, like, the politics of the planet, except for Jane and Dirk. And because they have such a huge influence on everything. So even if they did have homophobia, just like they still have xenophobia, I don't know. Like, it's just so weird. And then we do find out that Terezi has only been talking to John and has kind of, like, ghosted everyone else, I guess. Or at least that's what Dave thinks. John can't convince Dave to just date Karkat and not date Jade, So Dave's going to go talk to Dirk, the person he initially had the heart-to-heart with, about being into dudes. And but of course, the narrative calls into question whether talking to Dirk has fixed anything for anyone, because we all hate Dirk in both timelines, am I right? At least John understands that they had a bonding moment. But it's so weird. It's like, when has talking to Dirk fixed anything? What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? People have had heart-to-hearts with Dirk. Dirk is not like some, like, I don't know. I fucking hate how Dirk gets characterized in both me and Candy. I'm, like, I feel like I might have said this earlier in our Epilogues discussion, but I can't remember, and so I'm just going to say it all the time forever. Dirk was not my favorite character. I was not obsessed with Dirk until legitimately 2 weeks before the Epilogues came out. I had 2 weeks of joy of just loving Dirk and like being obsessed with Dirk. And yeah, there's always Dirk discourse. Like, people have always been weird about Dirk because they believe him when he says he's a bad person, instead of like analyzing that, hey, maybe you have a lot of self-hatred and are neurodivergent in ways that make you feel like a bad person. And you also like didn't have like examples of like how to be a person growing up, so you think you're inherently evil, especially when you find out about your beta self. But like, still, like, generally, like, people love Dirk. There was no like, I was easily able to find a bunch of people who like Dirk and just people who just like fucking ignored Dirk, and I didn't have to deal with that. Epilogues came out, and as you can see by how people are talking about, like, how the characters are talking about Dirk here and how the narrator is, like, there were way more Dirk haters after the Epilogues came out. We'll get more into it, but I mean, like, even if he was like chill for the rest of the Epilogues, we have already had enough from the beginning that there would just be like way more of a Dirk hate train. Yeah, Roxy and John get kicked out of the restaurant for not ordering food. But Roxy stole breadsticks, so Roxy and John go on a date to eat stolen breadsticks. Well, John has a lot of contradictory feelings, and Dave goes off to talk to Dirk. Mm-hmm. So we go to Jane and Jake, and here is the warning for discussions of date rape. So skip to the next chapter, the next marker, if you don't want to hear this. Jake wakes up. He cannot remember the last few days. There is someone in his bed with him. That is not unusual for him to wake up from being drunk with someone in his bed. Missing memory from the last few days is unusual. And then I didn't grab a quote, but he says something about like his worst fears has come true when he realizes it's Jane next to him. And then he sees that there's the lollipop. The juju the trickster lollipop turned them into tricksters and was like terrible, and they had agreed to not use unsupervised, and he insists that he would have never agreed to use it, and Jane tries to brush it off and say like, well, we were both drunk, so like we just made bad decisions. She date raped him. She was already kind of into the lollipop before. I'm pretty sure that was mentioned in maybe
it might have been mentioned. That seems familiar, but
yeah, it's been a while since that section was, but I'm pretty sure she mentioned something about using the trickster lollipop before going out to like a meeting or press conference or something. If all else fails, this is a mild spoiler for something that happens in the future, but like it is an established pattern of her abusing the trickster lollipop. So yeah, she date raped Jake, but because he isn't into that, does not like that they fucked, she feels bad, so he feels bad and gets pressured into thinking, you know what, maybe actually a relationship with Jane is just fine. And it ends with he flails when she kisses him, but this time there's no doubt he hasn't said no. What the fuck? Like, no doubt he hasn't said no. There's so many double negatives in that.
Yeah, I'm also trying to like parse that.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's no doubt he has said no. Means
so he has not said no, and there's no doubt that even though he did not say a yes, he didn't say a no. And listen, there's some cringe about the enthusiastic yes movement. I think there is some like I think there is some weirdness about the enthusiastic
I think that's
yes.
just overcorrecting.
Yeah,
for, like
like absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said here about someone who wakes up missing memories, is upset that he had sex with someone, and then is pressured to like it then feels bad because she feels bad that he was upset that they had sex. And it ends with saying that there's no doubt that he didn't say no. He didn't say yes. He is not, there's no, like, there does not seem to be any consent involved, but there is no explicit withdrawal of consent, which I feel like this is phrased in such a way that it is supposed to, like, highlight the fact that this is still not inherently this is dubious consent at best, right? Like, this is peak dubious consent, because he hasn't said no, but he is not into this. But it still ends as like, yep, and this is how it is. And I really hope that was intended to be like poking at the fact that this is dubious consent and not just like more weird victim blaming that I feel has been happening off and on. But that sucks. They are in a relationship because Jake felt guilty for not wanting to have had sex with someone who date raped him. Because again, he like gets all the misogynistic tropes that a woman normally would. Like, he has a lot of the misogynistic female character tropes.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Oh, just to rewind really quick, because this is also kind of related, but I've just realized in my chapter 11 notes when Dave was saying that he owes it to Jade to at least try that relationship thing.
Oh, yeah, shit. I completely missed your notes.
I wrote, "No, Dave, you don't owe anyone anything in matters of relationships. You do what you want to do. You don't let anyone pressure you into things you're not comfortable with." Because it's like such a thing that I was never told growing up, and that's something that I had to learn and then also like teach my younger female family and friends and stuff.
Yeah. That's very much, what's happening here too. It sucks.
Yeah, because I also put, it reminds me of dating in my 20s, except I was never drunk, but it was like this, like, oh, you have to do this thing, and then they're gonna be sad if you don't.
Yeah, like, it's so messed up. Ow. Yeah. Which, like, at least, like, for the other, like, John does challenge Dave on that, you know? Like, John is there to, like, tell Dave what you're saying is that, like, you, like, it depends on if you like her. Like, doing this is going to backfire if you are not doing it because you are actually into her. And here, no one is to help Jake with this, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, like, Dave still has that mindset, and that definitely sucks. But there's so much, like, sexual coercion and harassment coming from the girls. They're like peak feminism is when women do a sexual assault. Feminists win. Women can also sexually assault men. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, chapter 13, we're back with Dave, who is heading to Dirk. And this is God. Instead of regularly talking to Dirk about heavy things, Dave just imagines what Dirk would say based on being raised with a version of him. I'm sure that's fine and healthy for both of them. And I feel like this is kind of contradicted later on, and I'll come back to it. But, like, even this mindset of, like, him just, like, he just, like, imagines what Dirk would say and just does it based on that. I think this is supposed to be a hint to Dirk controlling the narrative before John made the choice for Candy, that, like, because, like, the meat timeline, like, John choosing meat is not when Dirk first, like, saw the entire narrative, right? Like, obviously he had been planning up until that point, which is why he had the plans with the presidency with Jane and everything. It was just so like, I think this is supposed to hint at the fact that it's like, he knows exactly what Dirk would say. It's not like he literally hears the voice in his head, though. Like, it doesn't, like, not literally speak to them. I think that's what's supposed to be getting at. But it's still bad. It's still bad that instead of having, like, a talk with your brother, with Dirk, I mean, even with a friend about, like, heavy topics, you replace having talks with them with just imagining what they would say. Like, that isolates both of you.
That's like talking to a chatbot. That's like talking to AI.
It's talking to AI that you name your brother who is just, like, down the road. It's like instead of picking up a phone to call your friend, you name the chatbot your friend. I mean, it's not even that. It's like, I don't know. It's just messed up. Because like then, because it's been a lot of talk about how like Dirk is also kind of isolated. Like, sure, he hasn't like gone dark like he has gone down in a while. I don't know how long a while has been. I'm assuming, I don't know if this is ever confirmed later on, but I'm assuming that the last time he went dark was maybe when he first started getting an idea of the narrative, kind of like, you know, how Rose was doing before John chose Candy. That's just assumptions though. I don't fucking know. It just, you don't build connections with that person and you're both isolated. I'm just so mad about it. And Gamzee's in Dirk's house for some reason. He just says some cryptic shit instead of like saying anything about where Dirk is or why he's there. Dave finds a feminine looking but unfinished robot holding a note, and the contents of the note do not seem to be good, and we're left on a cliffhanger for Epilogue 3.
Thank you to Dami for composing the theme song and editing the episode. You can find more of her work at soundcloud.com/DominoThief. Shout out to our Fakest Fan tier supporters, Danny the Spoonlord and Tezrak. You can become a supporter and receive early episodes and bonus content for as little as $1 a month over at ko-fi.com/jaxyax, or simply give a one-time tip. For information on and links to my other projects, head over to jaxyax.com. Thanks again for listening.